Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So many really cool and exciting things are happening here, and this video is no exception. In the video that I dropped last week, I was talking about how so many comments have told me to go to Aldi to make an MRE, and to date, I've had such a hard time with it. Now, I did do one a couple of years ago, but it was when the channel was under a different format, and I just kind of put everything in a bag and was like, here's the stuff that I found. But since these videos have become kind of successful, I've really wanted to go back, but Aldi has been a struggle. I'm usually there a couple of times a week. It's a favorite for my family, and it's an easy stop on the way home from work. So I'm constantly on the lookout while I'm shopping for regular things. Well, it just so happens that yesterday my wife and I were out, and I happened to think, hey, let's run by Aldi, get some things for dinner. While we were there, quite by accident, I stumbled across my holy grail. I found something there that I can use for a homemade MRE. With much ado and much excitement, here is the Dad Budget Adventures Homemade MRE Menu AL2. Remember 2 because we've already done 1 at Aldi. I feel like this needs a celebration. So everybody jump up and down a couple times, let out some whoop whoops or whatever you feel like doing, because here we have done it. Finally. Thanks to everybody for all your comments telling me that you'd like to see something from Aldi, and thanks for your patience while I try to figure out how to make it happen. So part of the trick with Aldi is that they try to get items that don't have a lot of preservatives, don't have a lot of extras to them, and are intended to be fresh. And when you're looking for shelf-stable items that have a decent shelf life, that's hard to do in a store like that. Not to mention, while Aldi does have a regular inventory, that tends to be very limited, and it's only on occasion that they get seasonal items, and that's where I found our entree for this one. So before we get into what's in there, let's go over the rules real quick. Other than the fact that I try to source everything that's in that bag from a single location, rule number 1 is everything in here must be able to be consumed straight out of the package. It doesn't mean we have to eat it that way, we just need to be able to. Good food is good morale, and being able to have it prepared the way it's supposed to be, that's a big plus. Rule number 2, everything in here must have at least a 1-year shelf life or best by date from the day that I buy it. And all that is so that I can ensure freshness in the event that this thing gets put away for a year, and then when I finally pull it out, I want to be sure that the items in it are as fresh as they can be. And finally, rule number 3 is the menu. This MRE must have an entree, a side, a walking around snack, a dessert, and a beverage. So I know y'all are dying to see what I found. Let's rip into it and see what's in here. For our entree, I finally managed to find one of the Patak's pouch meals. This particular one is lentil and veggie tikka masala. It is a vegetarian dish. And as I've said before, I continue to be amazed at how many vegetarian options there are available in the shelf-stable prepared meals section. This one should be interesting. It has lentils with pumpkin and sweet peppers. I'm looking forward to trying this. I've said this before, I am a carnivore. I like meat in my food, but sometimes you just need to do without. And this is going to be one of those cases. I didn't get any kind of meat to go in this. We're strictly sticking with this vegetarian option. To go with that as our side, and this is going to end up being a lot of food in the long run, but I got this 90-second barley and lentils pack. So we've got lentils in here, we've got lentils in here. Now, this is one of those packs that's got a lot more moisture in it than a lot of the pre-cooked rice. So this is one that I definitely think you could easily eat straight out of the package and it would be just fine. By the way, this is a vegan option. This is not just vegetarian, this is vegan. For all of y'all that are looking for vegan options for your MREs, here's a good one to go with. Once again, this could be the entree in itself. Depending on your dietary habits, you could easily just cook that, and that's dinner. And because it takes a little while for these things to warm up, we're gonna go ahead and get our entree and our side cooking. And for this one, we are going back to the beginning. Some of you love this thing, and some of you just have to complain about it every time I use it. I realize it's a little bit pricey. I realize the fuel is expensive, but this thing is such a handy little item. If you're new to the channel and you haven't seen it yet, I did a video about the Barrow Cook flameless cooker. Go back and look for that, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below. But we're gonna put our food in this and get it cooking, and then we're gonna explore the other items that are in this bag. This stuff smells really good. See what I mean? That's going to be a lot of food. Alrighty, so while that's cooking away, let's move on and see what else is in my kit. For our walking around snack, I picked up one of these Elevation energy bars. This is a crunchy peanut butter bar. It's not necessarily a protein bar, it's more just like a meal bar. And as I've said before, I'm not a fan of protein bars, so every time I try one of these, it's an experiment. I found some that I like, but I found a whole lot of them that I just cannot stand. The Elevation products I've found, I pretty much like these, especially if they're made with peanut butter. For dessert, I picked up this Simply Nature chocolate chip granola bar. Once again, chocolate is a staple for MREs. It doesn't have to be in there, but it always helps. And if you can get it in a way that's not just gonna melt into goo, that's a good option. So having chocolate chips and granola, I think that's gonna be a good choice for a dessert. For our beverage, I got something really unusual. I'd seen these there a couple of times before, and I thought if I ever were to finish an MRE there, that this is what I'd wanna add. And fortunately, there were still some left when I went back. These are water drop microlight tablets. These are grapefruit flavored, and they're just designed to be dropped in a bottle of water, shaken up, and then consumed that way. These have extra electrolytes in it. I've had lots of comments about people saying something about adding an electrolyte beverage into these things, and that's what we've got here. A few videos ago, I posed a question about whether you thought I should add an extra item into these MREs as a booster item, maybe some extra calories, some extra protein, something like that. And because the responses have been so mixed, I don't think I'm going to do it regularly. I think, though, that I will occasionally, as I find interesting items, I will add those into the MREs, and this is an example of that. I came across something that I was really curious about, and I thought this would be a perfect addition. What I found was the single serving pouches of bone broth. This is a powder, which means we are gonna have to add water to it, but it's no different than making coffee or making another drink. The great thing about this is the nutrition that you're gonna get in this bone broth is going to be an extra little pick-me-up. Not to mention the fact that if you have other things with you that you want to mix it with, you can make a soup. So it gives a lot of interesting options when you have something like this in your kit. And once again, if you don't need it, you don't have to consume it. Just put it away. Maybe later you'll find another use for it. Now that we've dug into our kit and our entree and side are cooking away back here, I'm going to get started trying these things out and see what we've got. So before I get down the road too much with these things, I'm going to mix up my drink so I've got something to wash it down with if I come across something I don't like. I'm really curious about these water drops. I think this is a product that's designed to go with another product. If I'm not mistaken, there was a water bottle called Water Drop, and that's what these things were designed for. But I'm going to go with the Redneck Water Drop bottle. So even though they're packaged like this, the tablets are individually wrapped inside. If you don't think you need more than one, you could just pack one of these away, or just take them out of the package, because 3 of these takes up a lot less room in your kit than this. So we're going to peel that open. The tablet itself doesn't have a strong smell to it, so I'll be interested to see how well it flavors the water. I'm going to start with one, and if I decide that I need another one in there, I'll add another tablet in there. So let's toss this in our bottle. I think it's fizzing. Let's close this up, give it a little shake. And while that dissolves, we're going to set it back here, and we're going to start trying some of these other things. First thing we're going to tear into is this Elevation Energy Bar, crunchy peanut butter. This bar has 11 grams of protein in it, so if you need that little protein boost, this will do a good job for you. That's interesting. It looks like a little cookie bar or cake bar instead of being that really compressed protein bar thing. The peanut butter, of course, is a dominant smell. It's got a note of something else, and I'm not really sure what it is. Let's give this a try and see if there's something I'm going to like. That's quite good. I did not expect that. It's crunchy peanut butter, so it's got chunks of peanut in it. There's a texture to it almost like crystallized sugar. So as you bite into it, there's this fine grainy crunch. It's not an unpleasant. It's like it had a sugar dusting or something like that. That's quite nice. I like that a lot. I will definitely get more of these. So checking out our drink, look how orange that turned. That's a lot of color from that one little tablet. There's still a little bit of it in the bottom. It's not quite dissolved all the way. So we'll give it another minute. And while I'm waiting for that to dissolve, I'm gonna go get some hot water so we can try this bone broth. So we got our hot water, we're ready to try out this bone broth. And to do so, I get to show you guys another item from another generous viewer. This Yeti mug was sent to me by Rondell Floyd off of the Amazon wish list. Thank you so much. I've been needing an insulated mug that I can keep with the teardrop camper, and this thing is going to live in this camper. So it's gonna see many great adventures. If you're curious about the Amazon wish list, it's in the description box below. It's just a list of items of all different price points if you want to send us something to help the channel along. And with that being said, let's mix this stuff up and see what we got. Ooh, that is a strong smell. This is the beef bone broth, so I expect it's going to be very rich. I'm gonna pour all of it in here and see what we got. You know, dried broth has been a staple in MREs and in C rations since the outset. Back to the earliest days of the American military, some form of dried broth has been included in these meals. Not all of them, of course, but it was a big part of it early on. But it's a great source of nutrition and a little bit of beefy flavor. We're gonna use one of our bamboo sporks to mix this up. It smells delicious. It's got a good, hearty, beefy aroma to it. I feel like this is one of those things that you could mix with a lot of stuff and just really give it a boost. Yeah, I think we've got it mixed up. Let's give this a taste. So let's give this a try. This is an interesting flavor. It definitely has that beefy taste to it. There's not a lot of seasoning of any kind to it. There is a decent amount of sodium in this. I think it's 480 milligrams of sodium in this, so you would think it would have a little bit more flavor to it. And it's not that it's unflavored, it tastes like beef that wasn't really seasoned. But the great thing about it is you could add whatever you wanted to it. Add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, kick it up to whatever you want, but it's very rich flavor. The less water, of course, that you put in it, the more it's going to concentrate that flavor, and the thicker it's going to be, a little bit heartier by adding less water. But that is a satisfactory booster item right there. Highly recommend that. All right, so let's try our water drop beverage. Let's see what we got here. Oh, wow, that really, mixing it with water really released aroma out of this. I can smell grapefruit. So let's see if we can taste grapefruit. I think coming in on the tail of the beef broth made the first sip a little weird. There's not a strong flavor here. For as much color as we ended up with, I really expected the flavor to be a little bolder. It's not an unpleasant flavor at all. It's just not strong. But the fact that I've got 2 more tablets over here, I could make this as strong as I want. But I feel like this right here would be sufficient just to have a little bit of extra flavor in your water. Plus we're getting those electrolytes. That's surprisingly good. Typically, I wouldn't expect it to taste like grapefruit. I would expect it to taste like a 5-year-old imagines grapefruit would taste. All right, so I think our entree and our side have been cooking long enough that we will be able to enjoy them as intended. So we're gonna break this open and see what we got. I was going to take it out of the barrel cook because it's still cooking away, but as soon as I touched that, I instantly regretted it. So we're just gonna leave it in there. Of course, the barrel cook has this neoprene sleeve on it, and I've added a little paper towel to the bottom of it. That's one of the flaws with this product, is that there's nothing on the bottom, and I don't know a lot of people that eat holding things like this. So barrel cook, if you're paying attention, we need something on the bottom of this thing. All right, so I'm gonna reach in here and get some of this lentils and barley without the other stuff on top of it. By the way, this smells absolutely delicious. I can pick up on some of the smells like the pumpkin and the other stuff that's in here, so this is very nice. The barley and lentils, it just, you know, doesn't really have a outstanding smell of its own. It's not bad, it's just not, you know, it's nothing that makes me want to chow down on it. That's pretty good. If I were eating that by itself, it would need something. I'm thinking hot sauce at the very least, but it needs some kind of a kicker to it. It's a very just ordinary taste to it, and I don't even know how else to describe it. It needs a little something extra. All right, let's get a taste of our vegetable tikka masala. I don't know about you, but I love tikka masala. We make it a lot at our house. I usually make it with chickpeas and chicken. I'll give the vegetable version a try. I do this for you guys. Love y'all. That's delicious. That's really good. I like that. It's not a strong flavor. There's a little bit of spice on the back end. I could see adding a little more heat to it for my personal tastes, but for most people, I think this would be just fine. If you're not somebody that likes spicy food, this would probably come across as being a little bit on the spicy side to you. But for those of us that like a little bit of heat, especially if you eat Indian food and you get used to the heat, this would be just fine. All right, so I'm gonna mix them all together. Here we go. That's quite tasty. That's worth the effort right there. A little chunky yellow pepper. That's really good. The lentils and the barley add some bite into this. The barley's just got enough snap to it that you feel like you're chewing on something. Because most of the vegetables in this are really cooked down. They don't really have a whole lot of bite left in them. So adding that lentils and barley to it, that gives you a little bit of substance. Yeah, that's really good. That's a great combination. Even though we already had lentils in the tikka masala and we had that barley and lentils that we added to it, it's not overkill, especially if you feel like you really need some substance in this meal. That is going to be a belly filler right there. If I were in a disaster and for some reason I had been cut off from food for a while and I got a hold of something like this, This would absolutely make me feel like I'd had something to eat. I don't want to stop with that. That's really good. We have one more thing to try. So let's cleanse the palate. And last but not least, we have our dessert, our Simply Nature chocolate chip granola bar. Granola is always a good choice for MREs, whether you're using them for camping or disaster relief or what have you. They're always a good choice because even if they get a little warm, you can still eat them just fine. Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot of fiber in this meal. In a few hours, I might be regretting my decisions with it. All right, let's give this a try. There's almost no smell to this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the tikka masala cooked my sinuses, but let's give it a taste. This one's got a surprisingly just neutral taste to it. Not picking up on chocolate or anything else. There's a sweetness to it. It tastes almost like this is made with cane syrup or something like that, as opposed to sugar. It's good, but if you went into this because you wanted the flavor of the chocolate, you're probably gonna be a little disappointed in this. I feel like the chocolate in here is more just a way of getting a little something extra here and there, but for the most part, it just tastes like sugar and oatmeal. Not unpleasant, just not a strong flavor. So since we were talking earlier about bonus items, kind of a funny story. During all the hubbub and excitement of me finally finding what I needed to do my MRE from Aldi, I ended up buying another item that I threw in here, and I guess maybe I just got distracted, and with my wife helping me, we were finding things right and left, and I ended up with something extra in here. So I guess we have a bonus item in this. The reason I decided to go ahead and put this in here was for so long I was not able to find what I need for an MRE from Aldi. And when I finally did, I found more than I needed. So as a bonus item, I have some of this Southern Grove sweet and salty trail mix. It's hard to beat trail mix, but if you needed an extra walking around snack or an extra booster item in your MRE, once again, Aldi came through this time. So let's try this one last extra item and see if this is something we want to keep around. You just never know what you're going to get around here. Just when you thought we were done. All right, so let's pour this out a little. We've got raisins, we've got peanuts, we have little chocolate candies, M&Ms, but without an M on them, sunflower seeds. All right, that's a pretty good looking combination right there. Let's give that a try. Look, I love peanuts, but I think sunflower seeds might actually have peanuts beat when it comes to natural flavor. I would sit and eat an entire bag of shelled sunflower seeds. They just add that additional kick to whatever they come with. So what do you think, everybody? Did Aldi come through or did they come through? Everybody that has been asking me, go to Aldi. There it is. We made it happen, and I think it was a tremendous success. Everything in this kit, I'd buy again. I would rebuild that exactly the way it is. I would feel confident enough sharing that with other people. All right, so if you're enjoying these videos, please don't hesitate to leave comments down below. If you can think of a place that I have not been, that you think I might have some success building a homemade MRE, please let me know about it and I'll try to find it. I may not have it in my area, but I do travel quite a bit, and when I do so, I try to find places that I don't have at home. Be sure and click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with your friends. Tell them to subscribe. This has been such a fun ride. Glad to have you all along. Thank you so much for everybody who has responded with the Amazon wish list. It is an absolute thrill when I come home and there's a package sitting on the doorstep that says Dad Budget Adventures. That to me is one of the most fulfilling things about this. I love your supportive comments. And if you're not in a position to do something like sending me something off the Amazon wish list, keep those supportive comments coming. Those mean just as much to me. And that's a wrap for this video. So until the next one, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. And we'll see you next time.